Hello folks, this is a continuation of my rain catchment video using a tarp with a drainage hole in the center. I'm supposed to get about a half an inch of rain tomorrow, so we'll see how this does. So it's been raining about a half an hour, so I figure it's time to come out and take a look at my tarps out here. But first, this little mason jar, this is kind of my Hillbilly's rain gauge. So hopefully you can see down there, we've got a little bit of water down in there, but it's not totally fully covering the bottom of that jar yet. So let's see how the tarps are doing. So here is the blue tarp that's cascading down into an 18-gallon tote. And let's look inside of there. Now you can see in the south we have pollen. That's kind of that scummy stuff on the surface, so that's another reason why you'd want to filter the water. But it looks like after only a half-hour rain, I'm about an eighth of a way into my 18-gallon tote. Let's go check the 6-gallon bucket that's underneath the 8x10 tarp and see how it's doing. You can see some water coming down that tube there. And looking into the bucket, it looks like, I'm not sure if you can see the changing color there, it looks like I'm about half full on this bucket. So after only half an hour, I'm already about 3 gallons in on this one. So yesterday it rained kind of on and off all day long. Never really a heavy rain, just kind of soft and then stop for several hours and then rain for half an hour and then stop again. So here's my little glass jar that's my rain gauge. You can see it looks like there's a quarter of an inch, but when you actually look in over the top, if I get that in focus, you can see it's not even covering the entire bottom yet. So not really a quarter of an inch of water. So let's go check the tarps and the buckets. So here's the 6-gallon bucket underneath the 8x10 foot tarp. It actually filled up completely yesterday and was overflowing for a bit. I kind of forgot about it. Came back out here, dumped it out, and it filled halfway back up again. So about 6 plus 3, 9, then the time I forgot about it, maybe 10 gallons for a day of light rain. Now let's check the blue tarp. So here's the bucket on the blue tarp. Not sure quite what's going on here. It filled up to that scummy line that you can see there, and then it didn't fill up any further, while the 6-gallon bucket filled up another 3 gallons. I'm not sure if I suddenly have a leak in my bucket or what's going on, but I dumped it out once. Basically probably had about another 10 gallons in there. So a day of light rain, maybe 20 gallons of water. A couple more days I'm supposed to get a half an inch. So we'll look at my bucket, see if I can find some holes in there and give you an update. So it's raining again, folks, which means it's time for another update on how my rain tarps are doing. As you can see from my little glass there, it looks like I've got about a quarter of an inch of water in there. So you can see I've replaced the 5-gallon bucket with an 18-gallon tote underneath there. So we slowly walk up on it. You can see I've got quite a bit of pollen in there with the water. And again, this one is about halfway full on an 18-gallon tote. So in an hour, I've gathered about probably close to 20 gallons of water. We'll see how we go through the day, and we'll see what my little jar up top says we gather at the end of it. Okay, here's another little rainfall update where it looks like we're about up to half an inch of water in our little cup that we're keeping track of the rain in. And let's go check and see how our buckets are doing. So here's the bucket off the 8 by 10 foot tarp. It's just under the top of the lid. Again, you see all the pollen on the top. And there's our other bucket under the 10 by 12 tarp, and it is totally full. So I'm going to go ahead and dump these out and then see how much they fill up throughout the rest of the day. So this will be my last little rain update on my tarps. As you can see from my little glass, it looks like I've gotten about an inch of rain, and it still is raining. So here's bucket number 1 under the 8 by 10 foot tarp, almost totally full again. And you can see the one under the 12 foot tarp. It is right up at the top again as well. So after having the tarps up for a week, it rained a couple days. This last day I got about an inch of rain. and probably 60 to 70 gallons of water off of my tarps. So gathering water via a tarp is possible in an area where you get a lot of rain. So some things that I've learned: you definitely still want to filter the rainwater. As you can see from my buckets, I had a lot of pollen in there. Don't really want to be drinking that. Setting up the tarps was fairly easy. So hopefully this video has given you guys some ideas, made you think. If you have any suggestions or questions, please leave them in the comment section. As always, thanks for watching, and please subscribe.